I overheard her say, "He'll confess tonight. I'll reject him in front of everyone and make him pay for dinner." I still showed up at the romantic restaurant. While she smugly waited, I handed her a small note instead. That night, her best friend kept calling me. She's crying a lot. I walked into the men's restroom at Bluebird Restaurant, straightening my tie and trying to look decent, before Jessica's birthday dinner. It was supposed to be a big night. Her friends, a fancy table, the whole thing. I was just planning to fix my hair, breathe a little, and get ready to act like the supportive boyfriend. I walked in and caught two guys mid-conversation near the sinks. I wasn't even trying to listen, but one sentence pulled me in. Their voices were loud, like they weren't even trying to keep it down. Guy number one chuckled and said, "Bro, Kevin's paying for Jessica's 8-person table tonight, wild, right? Dude basically prints money." Guy number two added, laughing harder, "Prints money, please. My girlfriend said Jessica was planning something big tonight, something about letting some guy confess and embarrassing him afterward, and that he'd be paying for everything. At least that's what my girlfriend heard from Jessica's friends." I wasn't even angry, just suddenly very awake to what was going on. I looked at myself in the mirror, suit, shoes, gift bag. Basically the idiot walking straight into a setup. That was supposed to be me tonight. Right, I hit record without even looking, just slid the phone deeper into my pocket. My heartbeat slowed down, not up. Everything clicked. If they wanted a scene, sure, just not the one they expected. I straightened my tie again, opened the door, and walked out with a brand new plan. That's when I decided the night wasn't going to go the way she planned. Before all of this blew up, I honestly thought Jessica and I were doing fine. I'm 32, I work as an editor, and I built my career from scratch. Nothing glamorous, nothing flashy, just steady work, and the kind of income that lets me be comfortable. I'm not the type who throws money around to impress people, but when I care about someone, I don't really think twice about treating them well. So yeah, I paid for nice dinners, bought her small gifts here and there, covered things when we went out with her friends. To me, that was just how you show affection. It wasn't some sugar daddy nonsense in my head. Jessica, on the other hand, came from a different world, at least the version of the world she wanted to live in. She's 25, works an office job that's normal like anyone else's, but her lifestyle was basically built around looking like she belonged to the rich kid circle. Designer bags on credit, cocktails at rooftop bars every weekend, brunch spots where the food wasn't even good, but the interior was photogenic. She wasn't rich, but she played the role like it was her full-time job. And her friends. Same vibe. They talked about brands more than actual life. If one girl got a new watch, the others had to level up with a bigger one. If someone's boyfriend booked a fancy resort for a birthday, suddenly every boyfriend in the circle was expected to do the same. It was basically a competition disguised as friendship. Looking back, I can see the signs so clearly it makes me feel stupid. Jessica would casually brag to me about what her friends' boyfriends were buying for them, dropping random comments like, "Anna just got a new necklace from her guy. It's not that expensive, but it's sweet, you know? Some men really know how to make a girl feel special." It wasn't subtle, I should have caught it. But when you like someone, you tend to give them the benefit of the doubt, even when the doubt is waving pretty obvious red flags I should have paid attention to. There were other things too. Whenever we hung out with her group, she always picked the most expensive restaurant possible. Not because she liked the food. Half the time she barely ate. It was more about the scene. She liked walking in with me like I was some unlimited credit card. And I played along because I thought, okay, maybe she's just proud to show me off. Now I realized she was showing off the benefits of having me around, not me as a person. I remembered one time her phone lit up with a message from her friend. "He's nice. Just be cute and he'll say yes." At the time I told myself it was a joke. Couples tease each other all the time, right? I didn't want to turn it into a fight. I shrugged it off like an idiot. But the truth is, Jessica never really saw me as a partner. She saw me as a resource, a convenient upgrade from the guys she used to date, guys who couldn't afford the lifestyle she wanted but still pretended they could. Meanwhile, I kept thinking we were building something real. I kept telling myself she just liked nice things. I didn't realize she liked the power of having someone pay for them even more. All of this makes a lot more sense now, especially after what I heard in that restroom. All the little things I'd ignored suddenly made sense at once. Honestly, I should have connected the dots a long time ago. The dining room at Bluebird was already loud when I walked in, but our table stood out immediately. 8 people, all dressed like they were there to be seen, not to eat. Jessica sat in the middle like she owned the place. Her friends flanked her on both sides, whispering and giggling while throwing glances at me, half impressed, half mocking. I'd seen that look before. It's the look people give when they want something from you, but pretend they don't. I pulled out the chair next to Jessica and sat down. She smiled at me, all sweet, but now I could see it wasn't just a nice smile. She was working an angle. I saw it differently now, after what I'd heard in the restroom. It was weird sitting there, knowing exactly what the plan was and pretending I didn't. The waiter handed out menus, and it didn't take long for the show to start. Lisa, her self-appointed best friend, held up the drink list like it was a prize catalogue. "Oh wow, Dom Perignon," she said way too loud. "Kevin, we should get 2 bottles. It's Jess's birthday, right?" She wasn't asking, she was daring me. Jessica placed a hand on my arm, smiling like she was doing me a favor. "Babe, let my friends enjoy themselves. You don't mind, right?" It wasn't a question either. It was pressure disguised as politeness. And I knew exactly what they expected. Me nodding, pulling out my card, playing the wallet on command. So I gave them the nod, calm, polite. "Of course, order whatever you like." Their faces lit up fast. Exactly what they were waiting for. They started throwing out dish names like they were doing a speed run of the most overpriced items on the menu. I didn't react, I didn't even blink, I just watched. Jessica leaned back in her chair, satisfied. She loved moments like this, being the center of attention, being fawned over, being able to say my boyfriend's paying without even saying it out loud. Her friends kept nudging each other, exchanging those "see, told you" looks. The whole table acted like they knew a joke I didn't know. Except I knew it now, and I let them keep going. The food came, the drinks flowed, and their voices got louder with every minute. The staff gave them the usual "please keep it down" look, but of course they ignored it. They gossiped about other people, bragged about things they didn't earn, and made snide jokes about men who simped too hard. I listened quietly, letting it all pile up in my head like evidence. By the time the plates were cleared, and everyone was leaning back in their chairs, full and smug, Jessica slowly stood up. She tapped her glass to get everyone's attention. "Everyone," she said, with that fake polite smile she used when she wanted attention. "I want to thank Kevin. He's been very special to me." Her tone made me want to laugh. She dragged out the word "special" like she was about to make a point at my expense. She even gave me that look people use when they think they're smarter than you. Then she tilted her head slightly, giving me the cue. "Kevin, do you have anything you want to say?" If I hadn't heard her plan, maybe I would have stood up right then, confessed something heartfelt and walked right into the trap. But instead, I pushed my chair back slowly and stood up. Just enough to make everyone look at me. Earlier, before I sat down, I quietly asked the waiter to split the bill 8 ways at the end. So when dinner was done, he walked over and set the separate checks down without a word. I gave him a small nod. He just put the stack in the middle and said, "Here are the separate checks." The second the checks hit the table, someone immediately yelled, "You're kidding, right?" Another guy cursed. It turned chaotic fast. One of the guys at the other end actually laughed because he thought it was some kind of joke. I cleared my throat, keeping my voice steady. "Just to be clear," I said, "I'm paying for me and Jessica, the rest all yours." Jessica's face went through about 5 shades of panic. Red, pink, pale, even paler, then something close to grey. "Kevin, what are you doing?" she whispered, voice cracking. But she wasn't confused. She knew exactly what was happening, she just didn't expect it. Lisa slammed her hand on the table. "This is messed up. Jess told us." Jessica shot her a warning glare so fast it could have snapped her neck. I picked up my coat. "I already covered my part," I said calmly, "and Jessica's. The rest is up to you." The reactions were instant. One guy shook his head in disbelief. A girl muttered, "Are you kidding?" My cocktail alone was $40. Lisa looked like she was about to argue with the waiter next. And Jessica. Jessica looked like she'd just realized this was going to follow her for a long time. I placed a tip on the tray and nodded politely. Before I left, I took a small folded note from my pocket and set it next to Jessica's plate. On the front I'd written, "For you." Inside there was just one line. "Tonight is the last time you use me as a joke. Happy birthday, Jess, and everyone. Enjoy your evening." Then I got up and left, no need to look back. Just walking out like I'd finally snapped out of it. And the best part. Behind me I could hear them arguing already, loudly. Blaming Jessica, asking her what she promised them, asking why she said I'd cover everything, asking if she was seriously expecting them to pay for the ridiculous orders they made. It was the sound of her entire plan falling apart, and I didn't even have to raise my voice. Walking out of the restaurant just felt right. Outside was quiet, and for the first time that night I could actually breathe. I got into my car, closed the door, and just sat there for a minute. No anger, no guilt, just this huge sense of relief, like someone had finally cut off a weight I'd been carrying without realizing it. Before driving off, I blocked Jessica everywhere. Calls, texts, social media, gone. Not out of spite. Just done. The show ended at the table. Everything after that was just cleanup. Meanwhile, inside, everything was turning on her. I didn't have to be there to know exactly what was happening. Her friends were the type who switched sides faster than flipping a light switch. The second the bills hit the table, they weren't Jessica's loyal crew anymore. They were customers looking for whoever conned them into overspending. And that whoever was her. I could imagine it perfectly. Voices rising, chairs scraping the floor, Jessica trying to explain while they reminded her she was the one who promised, "Kevin will take care of it." They weren't wrong. She did say that, just not to me. The gossip probably started before they even left the restaurant. Her whole group ran on bragging and flexing. Once the image broke, so did the act. The whole princess who always gets treated like royalty persona, gone. replaced with the girl who lied to her friends to get free luxury. They weren't going to waste this opportunity. By the time I was home, showered, and lying on my couch like a normal human being, my phone started ringing from a random number. I didn't pick up the first 2 times, but on the third call, curiosity won. I answered. Lisa's voice exploded through the phone immediately. "Kevin, seriously? Jess is crying. This whole thing blew up. You could have handled it differently. Jess is crying her eyes out right now. How could you humiliate her like that? She was just joking with us." I leaned back, staring at the ceiling like I was listening to a customer service complaint. "A joke?" I said calmly. "Great. So if you feel bad for her, you can pay her bill. Simple." She went silent. Completely silent. I continued. "Oh, you don't want to? Weird. Because you all seemed very eager to order Dom Perignon when you thought someone else was paying." She still didn't speak. So I kept going. Same tone, no heat. And by the way, Jessica's not crying because she feels guilty. She's crying because her plan to embarrass me blew up in her face. There's a difference. You can tell her I said that. Lisa finally found her voice. But it wasn't yelling anymore. More like someone who ran out of arguments fast. "You didn't have to be that cruel." "I wasn't cruel," I replied. "I was fair. If you order something, you pay for it. Grown-up rules." She muttered something like unbelievable and hung up. I put my phone down and didn't think about it again. While Jessica was scrambling to fix her reputation and defend herself from the same friends she used to brag to, I was sitting in my apartment, eating leftover pasta, watching a documentary. For the first time in a while, things actually felt normal again. And honestly, that calm was worth more than every fancy dinner I'd ever paid for. Over the next few days, I saw the missed attempts from new numbers and backup accounts. Jessica tried everything: anger, excuses, guilt, fake vulnerability. Most of her messages revolved around the same theme. "It was just a joke between friends. I didn't mean to hurt you. I really do love you. You misunderstood everything." If I hadn't heard the restroom conversation myself, maybe I would have doubted my own judgment. But once you hear someone casually planning to use you as entertainment, there's no misunderstanding left to discuss. I didn't respond to any of it. Eventually, I picked out the short audio clip I had recorded, the part where those guys in the restroom repeated her plan to embarrass me, and sent it to her. Just the truth. After that, she stopped calling, not because she understood, more because there was nothing left for her to spin. Facts don't negotiate. After I sent that recording and she went quiet, it felt better than any closure talk ever would. Not because I was weak. I just kept giving her benefit of the doubt when I shouldn't have. At minimum, a relationship needs respect, and generosity only means something when it's voluntary, not demanded. Once I understood that, the whole past year made sense. A few weeks later, I attended a professional workshop. Nothing special, just industry stuff. During a break, I ended up talking to a woman named Claire, an architect. Smart, calm, confident, no flashy attitude. We talked about work, travel, books, normal topics that didn't involve bragging or social ladder climbing. When the event ended, she asked, "Want to grab a coffee before we head out?" I actually laughed a little. Not because it was funny, but because it felt so normal. "I'd like that," I said. At the cafe, when the bill came, she didn't even look at me. Just grabbed it and said, "Want a split?" Like it was the most normal thing in the world. And just like that, I realized how different things could be when both people came in as equals instead of one pulling strings. We walked out of the cafe talking easily, not trying to impress each other, not keeping score. Just 2 normal people being decent to each other. Honestly, that was all I needed.